Please make me welcome Premiership player from the North Melbourne Football Club, Steve McCann. Are you okay?
Steve, seriously, it has been 5 years, and we would have had you on earlier, but Sam would have just burst.
Yeah, I wasn't ready. I wanted to be ready for when you came on, Steve. Thanks so much, mate.
I get it. Thank you.
You get it. You get it. I tell you why he's special. By the way, it's a great career. Premiership player
in his fifth game.
Absolutely, in his fifth game. We'll get to all that. But one of the reasons, Steve, that I wanted to have you on the show was because we have a special connection. Ever since, as a 9-year-old boy, I was in grade 4, and I had an assignment due, and I drew a picture of Steve McCann. I drew a picture of Steve McCann in grade 4.
That's hard.
And, for an assignment.
It could have been Steve McCann, it could have been Rolf Harris. We're just not sure at this stage.
I was very proud of it.
It's a good look.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask, for those for a school assignment? How'd you go?
Mrs. Janowskis did not like it. She gave me an F. The assignment was on ancient Egypt, but that's it.
Do you see a likeness there? Has he sort of captured the inner you?
By the way, we should have pointed out you had a beard in those days.
Yeah, I guess. So.
Well, it was Miss Janowski says the worst Cleopatra she's ever seen. But it was Steve. It was based on a wig. A wig, you know, William Ellis Green. And did you know that Weg? So Weg just didn't do the premiership posters every year. He also did players during the week, and that was one of you.
Okay.
I thought you'd be a bit more impressed. But that's
Was that the only player? Was Stephen the only one you ever did?
This one's not a bad one. You got to give me that one.
That's pretty good.
But I tell you what, I didn't have a great year that year. McGraham Wood was probably not as good.
What's wrong with the bat hand? Why is it 45 degrees to the bat?
I tell you what, by the time I finished with Steve's picture, I was out of juice. Anyway, that's enough of that.
What happened to the back pad? Why didn't you draw the back pad?
Listen, this is Steve McCann's thing. We'll get Graham Wood on another time. Very available, by the way.
What did Mrs. Janowski think of that one?
She liked it better than the one I did to Steve McCann, amazingly.
Well, let's
get on to...
Well, it's generally footy cards that are the lever for you to draw.
You'll get to see how good a picture it was when you have a look at some of Stephen's footy cards, by the way, because he had a...
Magnificent.
Mate, how would you describe your hair back then, Steve?
Yeah, different.
You were easily identifiable on the ground, and you had a beard before
like the Jesus Christ thing happening, wasn't it? And it's getting less and less as time goes on.
What are you looking at me for?
Good on you.
Have another pickle juice, Andy.
You're a magnificent player. You're a genuinely magnificent footballer. Either end of the ground, you could go into the ruck. As good as you were in the 70s and 80s, and I'm quite serious about this, do you reckon you'd be even better in the modern game? Have you thought about how your skill set would translate into footy in 2021?
Well, I would think somebody, that was lucky enough to be able to go forward and back and play in the ruck would be worth gold these days. And I'd probably, 5 or 6, 7, 800,000 a year.
That'd be pretty nice, wouldn't it?
Steve, can I ask, Steve, this grand final, the drawn grand final, Steve, is your 4th game.
Yeah.
Tell us about your involvement that day.
Yeah, well, that's not the drawn one. That's the replay.
That's the win.
One there.
That's the replay.
Yeah, that's the replay there. Pretty young. Yeah. Very, 3rd or 4th game at that point.
Unbelievable.
So I was just lucky to be in the right spot at the right time.
Playing in a great team who had some great nicknames. You had like Tiger, you had Snake, you had Crazy Horse, you had Crackers. What was your crazy nickname?
Pretty boring, just Macca, I think.
Macca, yeah.
Or who, or you, or...
Boo!
Yeah.
Macca? We'll come up with
boring,
it. Mongoose. I'm going to call you a mongoose.
Where was your best spot, do you reckon? If you had to said, Brass, settle me in one spot, what would have been your best position?
Well, the best year probably would have been the All-Australian year at centre-half forward.
Yeah, centre-half forward, yep.
I would have thought so.
Yeah.
But then, you had jobs to do in those days. You go back on the full-backs and the centre-half forward and full forwards, and I was just lucky enough to have the size and the athleticism, I suppose, to go with them.
Oh, yeah.
So, I often got put back there. So, I'd often play in, full-back, centre-half back, centre-half forward, full forward and ruck all in the one day. So,
Feeling good.
Yeah, well, it was handy.
Yes, so about 240 games, premiership players, and you're also involved in one of the great end-of-season trip games.
Oh, well,
is that
that's
fair?
great in inverted commas.
Yeah, it is.
Well, exhibition...
Controversial.
Yeah, the exhibition game in London, Stephen, called the affectionately known as the Battle of Britain. There you are here with Stephen Kernahan. You must have thought he was recycled. You put him in that bin. Mate, can I ask this about anyone who played that game? Because if you watch the game, it's terrifying to watch that game. What was it like out there? Was it scary to play in?
I don't know if it's scary, but you certainly were looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And after the game, I mean, John Kennedy had a smile from ear to ear, and he said, now, that was a game of football. Yeah.
Did you know it was going to be... Do you know it was going to be as wild as it was?
Well, my recollection, but I think it pretty much happened the night before.
Right.
When John Elliott got up and said that, we'd probably need it to pay our players if there was a bit of prize money involved.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that probably sparked it the night before.
Yeah.
So the die was cast there.
Yeah, I think so.
You had Barassi as a coach. You played with wonderful players, including Malcolm Blight. Now, anyone who watched the electrifying 80s, like I did,
great decade.
would never forget this piece of play, because we saw it and you could never believe it. But it's you handballing over the top to Malcolm Blight who did this.
No.
And there you are. Now, mate,
Unbelievable.
what were you thinking, and what did you say to Blight?
I know what I was thinking. Being a young kid, I don't know that I said it. But, yeah, something along the lines of, what did you do that for? Would have been, and that's putting it nice.
And what did he say? What was his excuse? Do you remember what he said? Or?
Well, he didn't say anything. I think he was, he couldn't believe it, what is it that he'd actually done. Because it's not a great Malcolm Blight. You wouldn't expect him to do that.
No,
he did everything.
That's pretty hard to do. Steve, that's pretty hard to do.
Well, he did everything in his career, didn't he? He was just...
That's a very good point. No, it's a very good point.
He's covered it all,
You played, like we said, you played over 200 games, 10 years, and of course, during a career like that, you are going to come up against ex-teammates. We've got some footage here of Crackers Keenan.
Premiership teammates.
Premiership teammates.
I'd like you to explain this to us.
Very fond of Crackers.
Yeah. You're fond of... And then... Well, you've obviously got some sort of beautiful relationship because... Let's say Crackers did a bit more talking than you, mate.
What's he saying to you there?
Something along the line, come down here, he said, I'll kick another one on you, or something to that. He didn't kick too many.
No. You always want to let someone know when you put one through from 11 metres out, don't you? Bang straight through.
What if Crackers ever does a TED talk, I'm going.
I'm very fond of Crackers. We get on very well.
Yeah, he's a beautiful man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That premiership, it's a wonderful team. What are reunions like?
Oh, absolutely. And to be part of that, when you look through that side, how lucky was I to be walk into a place like North Melbourne with the calibre of players that are legends of our footy club.
Well, Stephen, they're lucky to have you. You're a magnificent player, 226 games in.
Would play the game today. Would be easy.
No question about that. No question about that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you coming in.
On the show.
You got to give him the picture, or are you going to take it home with you?
Or not? What are you going to do?
No, I'm not going to give him the picture.
Steve McCann.